So, a question I see pop up all the time is, do I need a DSP? And really, I mean, there's no proper answer to that. You might not. It depends. How good do you want your system to sound? If you really don't care a whole lot about the sound quality, then by all means, no, you don't need a DSP. Do you have a radio with a said built-in DSP? Then you still might need a DSP or you might not. I mean, that's kind of entirely up to you. Hell, forever I thought I didn't need a DSP when in fact I did need a DSP. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the scenarios where you may or may not need a DSP. If you have a 6.5 in each door and a tweeter, and your radio has a DSP on it and your amps have crossovers, then yeah, you might not need a DSP. But let's bring in a scenario where you might need a DSP. So let's say you got 2 8s in each door, 2 6.5s in each door, and then some tweeters. Well, you probably need a DSP because you just can't use radio filtering on all that. Because see, you have 2 channels of your radio. Well, we're going to call it 2. You got 4, but you have a front and a rear. So on them 8s, let's say you're going to cross over the little DSP in your radio for the 8s, but then that bass crossover point is going to be too high for them 6.5s probably. So you're going to have to cross it over for the 6.5s, but then you still need to cross it over for the tweeters, or you could cross over the 6 or the 8s on the rear, the 6.5s on the front, and use the capacitor on the tweeter. But you see where I'm going with this. You still kind of, at some point, you're going to need a DSP up in the mix. So we'll talk about jangling here. Now, I have a bunch of 8s in each door, some horns in each door. I ditched the tweeters because the horns do everything I need to. But then I have a 3.5 in each A-pillar and a tweeter in each A-pillar. That's just a lot of shit to cross over. So, yeah, I could try to do it with amplifier crossovers, which y'all know how that is. I mean, you're guessing when you're turning that damn crossover on an amp. You're kind of guessing because the numbers ain't really going to line up. So, yeah, what would you do in my situation? 8s, horns, 3.5s, tweeters in the A-pillar. It's just a whole damn lot easier to go with a DSP. Now, I get it. My head unit does have a built-in DSP. My amps have crossovers, but I'm running too much shit. You know what I'm saying? So, I didn't think I needed a DSP at one point. Turns out I did. So, you kind of have to sit down and decide for yourself, like, do you need a DSP or don't you? I would say if you're running 2 different size mids and tweeters, you probably need a DSP. If you're gonna throw horns into any mix, you need a DSP. What a DSP allows you to do is it takes the guesswork out of everything. You know, like your low point crossover. For my 8s, they play down to 60 hertz, so I definitely cross them over at 60 hertz. And then that crossover slope. You know, I mean, do you want Linkwinch Raleigh? Do you want a Butterworth? It's there in the DSP, not in your head unit. Some head units might have it, I doubt it. But you get to choose the octave that you want. You know, do you want a 12 dB octave? Do you want 24? Do you want 36? Do you want 48? Your DSP has them options. Your head unit probably don't have them options. Your amplifier sure as hell don't have them options. So, there again. I got lucky. I got one of the best DSPs that DS18 had ever put out, the DSP 12i. I don't know why they quit making it. They said some people didn't like it, but shit, it's got 12 channels out. The option for 6 channels in, USB. I mean, it's got Bluetooth where I can play my phone through the Bluetooth. It doesn't allow me, I don't think, to download an app and adjust it for my phone, but I prefer doing it for my laptop anyway. A lot of DSPs allow you to change that shit on your phone now. That would be kind of cool, but then again, I don't need more shit to do for my phone. I'm already filming this from my phone. So, at the end of the day, with DSPs being so cheap now, I recommend everybody get a DSP. Because, well, it's sound quality. And sound quality helps. Do I have a sound quality build? No, I don't. This is not a sound quality. I want it to sound good, you know. Like, my doors sound pretty damn good. But I have a DSP. Do you need a DSP? I don't know if you do or not. I'm just giving you scenarios in which you might need a DSP. But for the average guy that's just going to run like 4 6.5s in each door, 4 tweeters in each door, your radio probably has you covered if you have a decent in-dash. Because you can go in, you can set the low pass cutoff for your mids off of the rear channel. You can go to the front channel and set it for your tweeters and be done at that point. But when you get a more complex system to where you want to run A-pillars, you want to run a bunch of mids in the door, you want to throw horns in the mix, you're not crossing all that shit over from your head unit. And a benefit of a DSP is you're not wasting power. And what I mean by wasting power is you're not setting your low pass cutoff down to like 60 hertz and still having that amp get signal that goes all the way up to 20 or 30,000, whatever the hell they go to. You're not wasting it. You can just have low pass cutoff here and high pass cutoff here. I mean, in reality, if you have 8-inch mids, who the hell needs their 8-inch mids to play up to 1,000 hertz or 2,000 hertz? That's where your horns start coming in. I run phenolic diaphragms in my horns, so they start picking up at 500. I don't need my mids playing much over that 500 mark that the horns is picking up. So I can cut that off, and I'm not wasting power playing above that. Like, I don't need my amplifier. Basically, what I refer to wasting power is I don't need my amplifier on my mids reproducing over 1,000 hertz or 2,000 hertz or whatever. I consider that wasting power. So by not having my amplifiers reproduce that, they're not doing it, and I'm saving electrical at that point, I guess. I don't know. It sounds good in my head. But anyway, yeah, you probably need a DSP at some point in your life. Get a DSP, and I recommend people do what I did. When I got my first DSP, I broke the old laptop out. Well, actually, my desktop computer. I downloaded the software for the DSP on my home computer. I opened it up, and I sit there and played with it. And I spent like 2 or 3 weeks doing this at random. I would just open it up, and I would see what each thing did on it, what options it gave me for each channel, the EQ and all that, like the limiters, how to set everything and adjust the volume for each channel and all that shit. And I got real familiar with it before I wrote a tune. And I actually just wrote a tune in it one day for each speaker that I have, kept a note of like, hey, channel 1 and 2 are going to be my mids. 3 and 4, well, that's going to be more mids. 5 and 6, that's going to be horns, you know. And I wrote all these different channels on there. And then I saved a file to a USB and plugged it in the DSP and loaded it up. Or I think I transferred it over to my laptop and threw it in the DSP. But anyway, then I went in and just kind of fine-tuned everything when I was listening to it. But I recommend you get familiar with your software and your tuning. Play with it before you ever write the tune to the DSP and put it in. But anyway, today I emailed back and forth with a guy at work. Probably 30 different emails back and forth with him because he didn't know what the hell to do with his DSP. He didn't know how to tune it. He didn't know how to turn the volume to each channel up and down or nothing. So I recommend you do it. I'll show you. I got my DSP. It's stuck in here. And honestly, I only ever touch this thing like once, twice a year. But there's my DSP. I have 4 channels going in, and I got 12 outputs here. I don't think I'm using all of them right now. Yeah, actually, there's something plugged into every one. Well, who knew? But I'm running 3-4 channels, so 12 channels total. I still had the knob on top, but I don't have a cord hooked in that anymore because actually I'm not using it, but it's still there so I don't lose it. Anyway, I do not run my subwoofer through my DSP. Why? Hell, I don't know, because my in-dash crossover does a good job of that, so I've never really felt the need to run it through there. But do you need a DSP in your life? Probably, yeah. Even if you say you don't, you probably do, because it'll just make things better. So my recommendation is get a DSP. What brand? Hell, I don't care. I'll work for DS18, but I don't care. Get what you can afford. Get it, put it in, play with it. The only DSPs that I don't recommend are the cheap ass ones that have the little screen on the top and the knob, and you just adjust it there. Right now, they're getting so affordable, you don't need that cheap shit in your life. Will it help? Probably, maybe, I don't know. But I just recommend getting one that you can put the app on your phone and set, or plug a laptop in like I do. I don't care. Get what you can afford and play with it, and your shit's gonna sound better at the end of the day. But anyway, it's Jerry Ain't Loud, and peace out, and as always, bass on.